starting in the AL East, where the Chalk, the Yankees, have undergone some serious health concerns. They're still listed as the favorites in the division, but I'll call your attention to Boston, Tom, whose stock is rising. A lot of experts think they have what it takes to kind of sneak into the discussion this year. Where do you have the Red Sox?
Let's start with the toughest division to call, in my book anyway. I was torn on this one, but I did land on the Boston Red Sox to win the AL East. I'll tell you why. They had a great offseason. When you think about Garrett Crochet, Walker Buehler, pushing some of the younger, good arms they have in their rotation a little deeper, and Bregman in the offense. I just love their winter, and also knowing that it's not just about Christian Campbell. You've got Roman Anthony sitting there. You got Marcelo Mayer sitting there. They have this core of young players who are now just knocking on the door. So from a depth standpoint, Boston's going to get better as the year goes on.
Yeah, I can't agree with that, too, and I like the Red Sox a ton. This was a tough division to call, Matty. I'm going to go with the Orioles. I mean, I look at certain criteria for me for a team that wins. And when I look at the Orioles, I think they're set up perfectly to match that. They have star players that I think are about to take the next step in their career, and the key to that one is Adley Rutschman to team with Gunnar Henderson to be like the co-superstar on that team. And then Westbrook and Holiday and Kowser, all this group of young players ready to take this next step. And this sense of urgency. It takes a while, Tom, to learn how to win at the major league level. I think they're very, very well positioned to take that next step this year.
Felix Bautista, the mountain back at the end of the game. Can I interest anybody in Toronto at plus 1,200? Get me to the window with an alias, as I like to say. Let's go to the AL West, where, things are jumbled up at the top. A lot of parity here, too. However, this guy could be a real wild card. If Jacob deGrom is the superhero of years past, is that enough to put the Rangers up top?
And not even a superhero. Just give me 20 to 25 starts, okay? Because he's going to be good as long as he's healthy. I'm banking on Texas winning this division because of the healthier deGrom. Don't forget, you've got Jack Leiter, you've got Kumar Rocker, you've got Tyler Mahle. They have pitchers who have incredibly high upsides. Just got to get them to the mound enough. Offense was brutal last year. You don't realize this. Last year against fastballs, they were the worst slugging team in baseball. The Texas Rangers. They had Jock Peterson. They had Jake Berger. This team, a bounce back from Adolis Garcia. To me, they're back. They're full-on back. I like the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, Tom and I are in agreement on this one. I think, for me, there's not another team in that division that has a higher ceiling than the Rangers. Their bullpen is the one major question mark, but they've got a manager in Boch that actually does wonders, putting guys in role, gaining confidence in the bullpen, getting that connected chain in place. I thought Chris Young had a great offseason in his acquisition. And to me, it's Corey Seager is the key, because he's got the MVP ability to come back and performs the way he did when they won the World Series. I just think it lifts the water in that boat for everybody else.
Plus, if you like the hocus pocus around Bruce Bochy and the every other year philosophy, we're in an every other year. Let's go to the Central, where the Tigers caught fire in August of 2024 and rode it out, nearly getting all the way through. Was that momentum they established enough, and can they continue it in 2025?
I'm buying Tiger stock. I thought those 2 months, Matt, were more of who they were than a anomaly, if you will, because this, to me, could be the best pitching staff in baseball. I'm talking 1 through 13. They just come at you with stuff every night of the week, every inning of a game. And I saw last year Parker Meadows got healthy. Torkelson gave them something. Kerry Carpenter's a huge key for me. He's an impact bat. He came back. So I wish they had a little more offense. They remind me a little bit of Seattle, where they have great pitching and maybe short on offense. But to me, their pitching is that good, Dan. I'm going with the Tigers to come back and win the Central.
To me, whoever wins this division, I think is going to be in the mid to high 80s. So I think there are multiple teams that can do that in this division. For me, the most talented roster in the division, top to bottom, is the Twins. I'm not picking the Twins because I don't know about the durability tied to the talent. But really, their roster is deeper than any team within the division. I'm going to stay with Kansas City a year ago. I think they've got the best player, or if not the best player, one of the top 3 players in the game in Bobby Witt. I love the acquisition of Jonathan India at the top of the lineup. I just think they did a lot of neat things, and they got a taste of what it's like to win. And I don't think they're going to turn that back this year.
I tell you, BetMGM sees it as a 4-way coin flip. I mean, you talk about parity. It's jumbled up in the Central as well. Let's go to the National League here and start in the National League West. First of all, a snapshot glance of what we all think is going to happen in the American League. Like I said before, we don't always get it right. I got the Yankees in the East, by the way. They're going to survive the injuries. They're going to make a deal. They're going to get another big starter. We forgot about Devin Williams as the big ad at the back of the bullpen. So there it is. We all agree on Texas in the AL West. Let's now go to the National League, where we would all agree on the Dodgers. So let's pose a different question to you, and I'll start with you, Dan. Which team poses the biggest threat to the 11 division titles in 12 years that the Dodgers have established?
I don't think there's any team that poses a threat to that. If there's a team that can push them, to me, it's the Diamondbacks. You got to keep in mind this team led baseball in runs scored a year ago. They did lose Walker and they did lose Peterson, but they've got Naylor back, and they've got Corbin Carroll, who's a legitimate MVP candidate, and they added Corbin Burns to their rotation. So it's a team that plays as one. They're highly competitive. They run the bases well. They play defense well. They execute the fundamental part of the game well. So I'm not sure they can challenge the Dodgers. I think they might be able to push them a little bit.
I would agree. I think it's probably at least a 10-win gap, which is a lot. I mean, the Dodgers, to me, look like a 103-win team. They're just so deep. They can withstand injuries. Arizona is a 90-plus win team for me. You mentioned their offense, the best in baseball last year. You're putting Burns at the front of that rotation. Zach Gallen, he could win a Cy Young Award any year. He's that good. So the sleeper to me are the Giants. They've been mediocre for 3 straight years. Buster Posey taking control there. If they get anything from Robbie Ray and Justin Verlander, veteran Cy Young winners coming back, maybe they make 20 starts each, 20 to 25. That team is going to make some
good point, Tom. And I will say, jumping in on that, Matty, the Giants bullpen, as it sits for me on paper, is the best bullpen in that division. It's a deep, deep bullpen with a lot of great.
Better than Dodgers.
It is a better bullpen than the Dodgers for me.
Let's go to the NL East, rather. We'll get to the Central in a moment because the parity thing is the same in both Centrals. In the East, it feels like a 3-way slugfest. Atlanta, Philly, and the Mets, they're getting all the run. How do you distinguish? Who's your team, in that division?
I'm going to say the Phillies. First of all, I think there's a heightened sense of urgency in Philadelphia. I think the window is beginning to close a little bit. They've got older players. They've got players at the end of this year that are going to be free agents. I like their pitching staff. I think their pitching staff, I could make an argument, Tom, it's the best starting rotation in the National League, and I think they're going to post up. And I will say, I think the bullpen has question marks, but every team in that division has some question marks in how they constructed their roster.
Yeah, it's a really tough call because, like you, I love the Phillies, the vibe there. I do think the window is starting to close. They don't mind the urgency. They'll answer to that. Atlanta are getting back a Cy Young quality guy in Strider and an MVP in Acuna Jr. I mean, what other team had a better winter? Just getting healthy. But I'm going to go with the New York Mets. I think they have this true momentum from last year that they built, and adding Juan Soto to the mix. And you've got Soto, Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso. These guys love to play every single day. They're like, no, I don't need a day off. I want to be in the lineup. And I love that vibe out of this Mets team. And I think their pitching is better than people think. Again, I still think job one for them, go get yourself an ace. But I think depth-wise, for 6 months, they're good. Is
your pick of the Mets based on the roster on paper as it exists right now, or does it assume an acquisition of a Sandy Alcantara or somebody?
It's basically right now. If I'm looking at the Mets getting through October, because you're going to have to get through that staff of the Phillies or the Braves or the Dodgers, that's going to be hard to do without a true ace. But for 162, yeah, I like the roster right now.
All right, to the Central. And as we mentioned, parity is the theme in the American League and especially in the National League Central. Everybody's kind of hyper-obsessing about the Reds, and they're a sexy pick for so many of us. Terry Francona's influence is going to be obvious. They get Matt McClain back. Where do you have Cincinnati?
I've got them pushing the Cubs, and I've got the Brewers right there, too. I think Cincinnati has a great young core of players. I love their starting rotation. I think Terry Francona has an effect on teams that you can't quantify or measure analytically. I think the Brewers have as good a young position core. I think Chiriot could be an MVP candidate. Sal Frelick is turning into a superstar for me right in front of my eyes. But I think the Cubs have the best roster and the deepest roster right now. I think Kyle Tucker gives them a legitimate aircraft carrier that they have not had in their lineup. And so I think they should win the division. But I'll tell you what, I would not be shocked if either of those other two teams do.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the Reds, and I'll tell you why. Every year when I make picks, I realize that every year there's at least one, usually 2 teams that had a losing record the year before that get into the postseason. And the Reds fit the profile perfectly because they were so bad in one-run games last year. Those things tend to turn around. Yep. And they have a new manager. Not just a new manager, one of the best ever, right, in Terry Francona. Those are difference makers right there. And now you're talking about Ellie De La Cruz, who could be an MVP. I mean, he struck out 213 times last year. If he just cuts down those strikeouts a little bit, my goodness, his ceiling is so high. So the Reds, to me, are one of those dangerous teams loaded with prime talent. I'm talking ages 26 to 29. They have a lot of players in that sweet spot. A little bit of experience, but old enough to be hitting their prime.
I know it's only spring, but it appeared that Ellie has made some adjustments in cutting down the strikeouts in the Grapefruit League season, the Cactus League season, that is. So a snapshot glance of our National League picks. We're all in agreement on the Dodgers. That's not exactly stopping any presses. And that's the only division where we have reached a agreement. Guys, these are all established star players, right? The blue bloods of our sport. One of the things we're most looking forward to this year, in addition to watching them play, is the emergence of young talent. So give me a young prospect, Dan, who you're most anticipating his debut.
Well, I mean, Cam Smith, we're going to see a guy basically jump from college baseball to the big leagues this year, so I can't wait to see that. But my guy is Jack Caglione. I mean, Tommy, this guy is 6'5", 260. He's just a different type of athlete. He's physical, tremendous athleticism. And, you know, what he did in the spring, if you're basing big leagues on spring performance, which might have happened in a few cases this year, no one had a better spring than this young man. His power's enormous. The issue has been his command of the strike zone. That's because I think he's got some hitability in him. Once he dials in what to swing at, I can't imagine a lineup that's got Bobby Witt Jr. and Caglione hitting back-to-back. Can't wait to see that happen.
What a great spring. When do you think we'll see him? May? Before then?
No, probably sometime around May or June in that area.
Wait for that. Well, you won't have to wait long to see Christian Campbell play second base for the Red Sox. He made the team out of camp, and why not? Last year at 997 OPS in the minor leagues, he's got great bat-to-ball skills. I'm telling you, he's going to put a lot of dents in that left field wall at Fenway Park. He can play the outfield if you want to keep his bat in the lineup, move some people around. Just a really athletic player, about 6'3", 210. This guy, I think, is going to be one of these plug-and-play players. I really don't think he's going to struggle out of the gate. Quick bat. Can't wait to see a whole season of Christian Campbell, not just opening day.